I want to talk about Hollow Knight Silksong, not as a hardened genre veteran or even a Hollow Knight veteran. I haven't played Hollow Knight, so my perspective is different. The last Metroidvania games I played were probably Castlevania Symphony of the Night and Metroid Prime 2. So it's been some time. My goal is to give a partial review of my initial impressions after about 10 hours of gameplay. To start off, let's talk about what I think is the most crucial aspect of a video game: pressure. More specifically, how a game creates pressure and how it lets you release it. For me, that's what makes a game fun. Every game in existence is decided before you get through the first level by how the controls feel. A childhood favorite of mine, Rascal for the PlayStation 1, would probably be looked at much more favorably if it wasn't cursed with some of the worst controls you could ask for in a 3D action platformer. The controls are terrible. Nearly everything else about the game is very good. Okay, I'm lying to you. The game just kinda sucks, but I like it. Interestingly, unlike other modern platformers I've played, your run and walk speed are locked. Silksong, being a platformer in the vaguest terms, has what you'd expect: run, jump, and attack. But even at the start, the movement has a bit of finesse to it. The starting core gameplay is run, jump, swing. You'll be using these basics for the early game, like every good platformer does. Something that took me a while to get used to was the jumping. I'm not used to games where your jump height is controlled by how long you hold the button. The extra control matters more than you'd think, especially early on, where controlling jump height can decide a lot of combat situations. The swing part of run, jump, swing is both combat and movement. You can attack forward and you can attack upwards while grounded. Something I didn't discover until about 2 hours into the game is that you can parry certain attacks. I was fighting a large red ant, and after a few attempts, I noticed that one of my attacks collided with theirs. There was a different animation, and I did not take damage. I had parried. When I play a game, I love parries. Parries can turn otherwise unfun games into fun ones. They're satisfying and they scratch the right part of the brain. After learning I could parry, the red ant fight became easy. Not because it was trivial, but because the mental pressure dropped. I no longer needed precise movement for every moment. One option could cover multiple threats. I think a major part of Silksong is finding ways to minimize the pressure you feel while playing. For example, when I play Minecraft, I'm terrified of bridging. This might sound like hyperbole, but it genuinely raises my heart rate. I feel safer driving in a blizzard than I do bridging in Minecraft. Another stupid example: I once opened my bathroom door and got jump scared by a strand of my own hair moving on the floor because I am absolutely terrified of bugs. I would be the first person eliminated on Fear Factor. And yes, I just put that there so I can mention Fear Factor. As a Metroidvania, Silksong puts learning new mechanics front and center. You're constantly unlocking new tools that change how you move in fights. You'll notice things in the environment that don't make sense yet. Gears start turning in your head before you understand why, and then, later, you do. Something that probably turns people off is hearing Silksong called a Souls-like. I'm not a Souls-like expert, but I've played Dark Souls, Bloodborne, Elden Ring, and a few others. I don't think Silksong is a Souls-like, though it definitely borrows elements from them. It's much more forgiving than most Souls-likes. Update: there is a poison swamp area, so maybe it is a Souls-like. I think Silksong balances difficulty very well at the start. Each enemy and boss introduces mechanics slowly and prepares you for more complex challenges later. Different players will struggle with different bosses, depending on what skills they rely on most. I haven't talked much about the platforming yet, mostly because I'm bad at platformers. Even though the introductory platforming sections can feel horrifying to me, the air dive attack in particular can be frustrating early on. but I think that's intentional. Later upgrades can change how it works and make those sections much easier. I'm about 10 hours in Silksong, and I feel like I've barely scratched the surface. But every hour has felt meaningful. For me, Silksong isn't about the overwhelming difficulty. It's about slowly teaching you how to manage pressure and how to release it. I like the game so far. So, thanks for watching. Bye.